Good morning, everyone. I just need to check if you can hear me. I've got some problems with my internet connection today. Welcome to our third class of and just to bring everyone up. Our first class was about who talk about the impact of the Lama.
Okay, Serena.
Hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Now, yes.
You didn't hear before?
Before not.
Okay, whoops. All right, so welcome to Exploring and Living in the Path. We're now halfway through our series, and just to bring everyone up to speed for those who may be joining us for the first time, we had our first class on Lamrim, the importance of the Lamrim and the Guru, which is led by Venerable Drachom from Singapore. And that was followed then by Guido from Indonesia, who spoke to us about how precious our birth is, amazing jewel that we have in our hands, and we should take every opportunity to make the most of it, of the flip side of the coin, which is the certainty of death. So this is to third class, which is about the three parts to what? So Nahoko will be talking about what they are, why three, why not one, and path leading to where, and why should we want to go on the path? And also, therefore, the importance of renunciation of the three principles of the path, the recognizing emptiness. So a little bit about she is a chiropractor at FPMT-registered. First met Lama Zopa Rinpoche the teaching in 1990, and she Nepal, Thailand, and India in effort to learn more about Buddhism. And when she met Rinpoche again in Bodhgaya, it inspired her so much that she embarked studies in Buddhism. She is a graduate of the Masters Programme in Buddhist Studies at Lama Tzong Khapa, and that was back in 2004. So we can't. With you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third class of Exploring and Living in the Path, Module 3. Today we are going to, I'm the class leader, Nahoko Watanabe, and I'm from Japan. And when I graduated university in Japan, about that time, I had an opportunity to meet Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Someone told me the flyer that he was going to teach in the center of Tokyo. So I happened to be there. And that time I got quite shocked. I don't know what it was. I was quite shocked to meet him. And my heart was going boom, boom, boom. And after that, I don't remember what he was talking about, actually. But I was really involved in his presence. And that meeting left such an impact on me. Then it was in 1992. Since then, my life started taking a kind of unique course. Year after, I left the kind of self-made pilgrimage trip, and it lasted about nearly 9 months. And when I went back to Japan, I got the news about the master's program from the Japanese study group, and I immediately decided to join it. And I only had the resource, I mean, the money and all this, to complete about 2 years, but the course is 7 years. And anyway, it was only thing that time I wanted to do it, and I jumped into that, the course. to attend the master's program. And unfortunately, during the course, help from here, help from there come, and I completed the 7 years course. And after that, I decided to study about medicine because I wanted to help people, but I didn't have enough resource to study full medical, to go to the full medical university. No. That time I met chiropractor who was doing a great job to relieve the pain of people, and I decided to join to study the chiropractic, and I joined the 5 years of a university course in England. And so after I graduated by taking a Master of Chiropractic degree, and I came back to Italy, and now I live in half in Greece, half in Italy, and trying to start the work in Greece, business in Greece. So here I am, and a few years ago, I came back to the FPMT community by getting a contact with the office. And recently I'm registered as a FPMT-registered teacher, and currently preparing for the opening the Discovering Buddhism course in Japanese. Yes, so it's my introduction. And today, so I got invitation from Southeast Asia regional office of FPMT to lead this class, and the third module of exploring and living in a path. So we talk about the 3 path presentation of the Lama Rim, and importance of renunciation as a basis of following the path. Before entering in the class, starting the class, I would like to set the motivation. So there's a slide of the motivation. So to listen and join this course, the motivation is always very important. So our motivation is to participate in this Dharma class. Dharma teaching class is this one, the perfect complete enlightenment, which is a fully awakened state, is what we are aiming at. So it's very clear about our aim is to, by listening to the teaching, our aim is to attain a perfect complete enlightenment, the fully awakened state. What does it mean? By definition, to attain a perfect complete enlightenment means you're listening this teaching for the sake of all beings, so that you will get the method to help all sentient beings without exception. Okay, so with this motivation, it's a bodhicitta motivation, bodhisattva, be on the bodhisattva path to finally attain the full enlightenment. Okay, and this is a very important point. In everyday life, we all want to be happy, and we do all sorts of activities, try to create something, try the new things, try to buy something which might make us happy, all sorts of things to try to be happy. But we remain most of the time dissatisfied after we get whatever we are searching for. We kind of get disappointed, or we just have a 1 second of excitement that we get something. Then after remain in the hollow feeling. And while repeating all these activities, trying to be happy, do something, get excited, and be disappointed, have follow feeling, and being sad. and don't like to be sad, we try it again and again. There's something wrong with what we are trying to be happy, in the way we're trying to be happy, the method to be trying to be happy. Why is it? You know, many of us, I mean, when I was a young in high school, university student, I always had kind of anxiety, you know. I was studying all right, and I was doing a lot of activities like playing music in a band and dancing and all these things, but always had this underneath anxiety and dissatisfaction. And I was asking, why is that? What is that? Where is it coming from? Why I'm not happy with what I'm doing? You know, I get excitement, sometimes very joyous, you know, feeling happy, but it's never lasting for a long time. Then that time, we investigate, why is that? I'm trying to satisfy myself, this I, you know, this I actually doesn't exist. How I perceive, how I think, you know, this is the I that we are trying to satisfy is like hallucination. No, it's like hallucination. We have to understand that point because this I is actually put the name on collection of all things is coming together as a human living being, and it's momentarily changing all the time. But this sense of I takes ourselves, you know, conceive ourselves as something very concrete and standing by ourselves, you know, standing self-sufficiently, standing, independently existing. And this, we're trying to continue to satisfy this hallucinated mode of taking what I is, you know. And this world that we're living is made of this misunderstanding, misconception of, you know, mind, consciousness. That's why we can never satisfy the hallucination. And we continuously grasping at it and trying. While you're trying it, we continuously create more negative state of mind, more negative state. If we die with that negative grasping feeling, dissatisfied, disappointment, hollow feeling, when we leave this body, we're gonna take the form which will support that dissatisfied consciousness. Then we will be unhappy and it's never stop. When we realize that, we start understanding there must be the real nature of everything, which is not the misunderstanding, you know, misunderstood. What is misunderstood? There must be the true nature of phenomena, you know. Then we start investigating if there is any word of, you know, the true word. Then when you investigate that, you take out this misunderstanding of everything. There is the word of the true nature of the things. And when you understand these two mode of in the mode of the word, you start understanding that the two truths, you know, there is a conventionally shared truth with everyone, and it is ultimate truth that is a real kind of form of how things are, how things existing. And when you understand this real way of existing things, you will not gonna have any more the disappointment to know, it will never deceive you again. And there you will start having the everlasting, lasting happiness, and you will start getting the peace of the mind, no more agitation. Okay. So when you start about understanding about the conventional and the ultimate truth, the true way of existing things, you start investigating the Four Noble Truths, what Shakyamuni Buddha left in his first teaching. And he taught about the suffering, and there is a cause of the suffering, and there is a way to abandon, the state that which was completely abandoned, the suffering and the cause of it. And there is a way to arrive there. Four Noble Truths: true suffering, true origin, true cessation, true path. First, you understand these two truths, the two modes of being, and you will have the concrete faith in what Buddha taught in the first teaching. So you start following his teaching with a kind of true faith. It's not a fake faith. We convinced that this is going to save you, help you from coming out from the suffering. The path is clearly shown. Okay. While practicing Four Noble Truths, the true suffering has to be known. The first, what you abandon, the suffering, you have to know what you're abandoning. First, true suffering has to be known. And the cause has to be abandoned, true origin. All the delusion has to be abandoned. When you abandon all these, you will have a true cessation, no more suffering, the word of no more suffering. The suffering will not be experienced anymore. And there is a clearly shown the path to follow to arrive there. You practice this one, with taking a long time, but you practice this one, and eventually you will attain liberation from samsara, liberation, you liberated from it. And you understand the true nature of suffering, what I is, and what true nature of the phenomena, you will be liberated from the suffering. After you liberate yourself from suffering, you, at the same time, you understand how you're made of. We are just made of the cause, the dependently made of the cause and an effect. And we are all the collection thing which is given by the others. We are existing with the interaction with other people, and the beings, the condition who gave us to be able to liberate it from the suffering is given by the others, like us. And at the moment, we see that all the other people who gave us this existence, they gave us this body and gave us this mind, are still in the suffering world. They're still suffering, like we are suffering, we used to suffer. I'm talking about after you're liberated, yeah. So there's no way that you leave these people who really kindly gave you everything for you to be able to be liberated, to leave them in a state of suffering and you just remain in peace by yourself. There's no way that you can stay there. And when you see them suffering, it's like you feel so much pain to see them, like a child putting a hand on the candle fire, The mother would take the hand away like that, That the pain that you feel, the compassion and the love you feel towards other people is like this, you know, when you arrive to that point. So you decide to learn and walk on the path to the Bodhisattva, to develop perfect method to be able to help all the beings without exception, everyone, without no one left behind. This is a very courageous decision, because once you're liberated, it means that you're going back. I mean, not yourself going back, but you kind of jump into the suffering world and try to pull them out from that suffering world, yeah? But you decide to do it. It's very courageous. That's why bodhisattvas are called the heroic mind, no? The one of heroic mind. You come out from the house of fire and you find relief yourself, but you see all these kind people are still suffering in the burning fire. So like a fireman, you wear the clothes to cover yourself and protect it completely, and you go back inside that burning fire, burning house. You know, it is like that to help people. You know, it's a little bit like this. You know, so while you're processing on the bodhisattva path, you will get more method to be able to help and all the living beings. So with this motivation, we are listening to this teaching. We are talking about the renunciation. It's a topic in a small path of small scope, which is aiming to get the better, higher rebirth and definite goodness. And the second one is the aspiration to be liberated from the cyclic existence, the suffering mode of being. But the motivation is always here to listen and participate in this teaching, is to be able to have a perfect method to be able to any living beings who is suffering at this moment. And who we can rely on to have a perfect method and to learn this perfect method, who is completely liberated from the suffering. And this is, we find the three jewels, and we find three jewels as a most reliable, reliable reference to take a refuge in, because Buddha is the one who perfectly liberated from the suffering, and also perfected the method to help each and every sentient beings, and have a power to lead them to the perfect, complete enlightenment. And Dharma is a teaching that he's left for us to be able to follow. This is the actual refuge that we're going to take. And the Sanghas, you know, it's a living example of a path, like our gurus. You know, gurus, they say masters or the teachers, you know, guru has a more heavier quality than that, like a Buddha. They are living here with us so that we can see and we can follow how he is, you know, and he gives us any moment of the like a precise advice and all these things. And all the other spiritual friends, the sanghas, they are here for us to, you know, support each other and go on the path together. You know, it's a great support. So we're going to take a refuge, and also we're going to recite the 4 immeasurables for the wishing for the all sentient beings to obtain liberation and happiness, and eventually to the perfect complete enlightenment. We're going to recite the refuge and the generic bodhicitta, especially also now there is a request. There was advice from Kandora for the Rinpoche's long life to recite this refuge prayer. And Venerable Roger, our CEO of FPMT, requested all the students of FPMT to recite this refuge and then generic bodhicitta. Okay, so with this in mind, we're gonna recite refuge 3 times. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha and the Dharma and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving the other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. 4 immeasurables. May all sentient beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is without free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from desire desire for the friends and hatred for enemies. Okay. So the 3% renunciation, importance of the renunciation, is today's topic. I would like to talk about the renunciation first, because this is a goal that we are trying to understand for this class today. And the Rinpoche also I'm gonna play the video of the Rinpoche's teaching, but he emphasized that renunciation is the basis of all the Dharma practices. So without renunciation, renunciation, what are we renouncing? You know, we are renouncing the source of all the problems, root of problems. No, we are not renouncing what the comfortable life. No, the root of the problems, the sufferings. No, we have to identify what making us so suffer. No, and there's a root, which is a delusion. You know, we have to completely understand that and renounce that. And if we don't do this one, any higher practice like developing bodhicitta for helping others, if we are not renouncing the suffering, we cannot help other people to be free from suffering. So without renunciation, bodhicitta practice doesn't have any meaning. And without renunciation, the higher training, the wisdom, doesn't have any meaning. It means that not renouncing the suffering and understanding of emptiness of how things are, the real true nature of how phenomena are not compatible. If you don't understand the renunciation, you don't understand what it means about the wisdom. And now first we go to see the video of the Rinpoche, and then let's listen to what he's saying about the renunciation, importance of renunciation. It's about 4 minutes and 20-second video.
If you want to have realization, only what you like, or bodhicitta, or this, simply only what you like. you don't do renunciation. You don't renunciate. You don't think of renunciation. This shortcomings samsara. No, you don't think about your impermanence, death of your life. Don't think. Lord, don't think. Never think. And then only bodhicitta, only emptiness, only. Then tongue to have meditation. Then difficult to have realization. Then how much you meditate, So without renunciation, without renunciation, bodhicitta, good heart, bodhicitta, all those other things. Those are things, you see, those are things like what I said, putting tsamba on the river. On the river, put tsamba, spring tsamba. Tsamba doesn't go down, tsamba stays. So, if you meditate on emptiness, Buddhism, it's just very, very shallow, not the essence, no essence, like the seeds, cover. No, the essence is not there. So very shallow experience for the very empty, not so the real realization, real experience doesn't come. So, or doesn't come, but never mentioned or renunciation. Basis, the basis to develop great compassion, basis for Buddhist renunciation, nature of, how the nature of samsara, how the shortcomings of samsara, how the nature of samsara is the nature of suffering, and lower realm sufferings. Never pay attention, doesn't want to maintain, never pay attention. So, but it's all the things just words in between lips, and just very shallow, very not really from the heart, and the person really feeling there. So if you do the previous meditations, lay the foundation of renunciation, a lot of suffering, then the suffering comes out of this, or renunciation, or the stronger renunciation, more great compassion, more stronger compassion to others, they're suffering samsara. So you can feel, you can see how it is unbearable. Or to others, the more you meditate, they lower and suffering. Then you see, when you have realization, then you see, then you are able to develop great compassion to the other sentiments, feeling very unbearable, they're suffering. So unbearable, they're suffering. So great evolution, great compassion. Then the evolution with real bodhicitta, all of that. Otherwise, it's just only what you like, and then nothing. How many times you meditate, not much happens. So like that, there's no basis.
Yeah, so you talked about the importance of renunciation. Without renunciation, the practice of bodhicitta doesn't have any essence of it, because we ourselves, without renouncing, keeps the suffering as maybe giving us a happiness. If we continue to keep ourselves that the state of the suffering, it's okay. It's not something to renounce, because it is okay. It can be a happiness in all these things. Then, since you're not understanding that you're still suffering, your ability and the method to help other people to come out from the suffering is not complete. And also, you don't see, because you're suffering as well, you don't see completely how the people are suffering. It's only when you come out from the state of suffering, you're completely liberated, you know, then you start seeing the people who are suffering so much, you know, being in a burning fire, putting the hands on the candle light and saying, oh, it's hot, it's painful, I cannot, you know, bear it. You will see that, the pain and the suffering of it, because you had the experience of it and you are coming out from that. So renunciation is very important. And what are we renouncing? It's a very start of Dharma practice. What are we renouncing? Is, like I said before, it's the suffering and the cause of the sufferings, and attachment to this life, pleasures, and try to please the sense of I, try to fulfill the sense of I. Why? Because it doesn't exist how we perceive it. You know, it's like a hallucination. It doesn't exist the way we think how it is. You know? So this is the basis of perfect, complete enlightenment, omniscient mind. Is you will develop, while understanding correctly, the renunciation, the suffering that we're renouncing, the things that we don't need, the things we grasp at, but it's not useful to grasp at. You know, it's just causing more and more sufferings. It's like drinking salty water. And because why? Because this is the sense of I that we are trying to please is a hollow. You know, it's not no substance at all. It's just a name that we give to this collection of the things. And when you understand that, we start kind of letting go of the things. And when you let go of the things, you start feeling something coming out from inside, you know, the grasping feeling. It doesn't matter what external conditions are. It's all coming from inside, that you're craving for something all the time. And it's causing underlying anxiety, you know, that something missing, something more I want. And where is it coming from? You know, is it really valid? Is it really necessary? Does it really make you happy when you obtain it? In this life, for example, our body and its world is transitory. Every moment is changing. Everything is changing. And our body is decaying, getting old, moment by moment. Is it really worthwhile to try to give everything to make this happy? No, because once you give something, and that moment is already gone. You know, once you try to get the fame, and the fame will be it will be gone in by, you know, some days and some months after. People will forget about you. You try to get wealthy, to get money, but this you only to get money to get the fear of losing it, and you're going to lose it because everything is changing. And you know, what we're trying to concretely satisfy ourselves is very transient. You know, it's nothing remain, and you understand it, and those things you're trying to chase after is not making you happy. And when you understand that, you stop and think that this is not necessary for me anymore. It's just making me only the problem, the suffering and anxiety, hollow feeling, the loneliness and sadness. You know, if those things are causing only these things, you know, you don't want it anymore. When you start understanding that, you start letting go of the things one by one. Then you start feeling, you know, the light, the feeling light of your being. You know, you understand you don't need this. You understand you don't need that. Then you start being liberated from all these things. And sometimes, many practitioners, they go into the very quiet place, like the caves or the monasteries, which is very good because they are protected places. But it's very favorable condition to practice renunciation, just to be without the grasping and the chasing after the things, letting go of the things. But this is internal work. Even if you go into the cave or the monastery in a quiet place, if you are craving for something inside, we still don't understand what that craving is making you suffer. The places where you are is not important. It's an internal work. And Rinpoche, in the next video, he talks about his own experience of a very good moment of the renunciation he had. And let's listen to what he said. It's about 22-minute video.
So the text which is there is all Nyingma text, handwritten, much is handwritten. So even at the monastery don't have, they borrow text from Ladu, like that. So when I was building monastery there, it seems I was planning to build a monastery the past life. Well, I don't remember. There was Lama, that's many Lamas proved that I was the incarnation of that, Lama. So, so there's only one text that read by all the four sects, Kaju, Nyingma, Kaju, Sajja, Gelu. You see, all the four sects that read this Kadama Geshe's advice, collections of Kadama Geshe's advice. It is called Tomar Lojongwa Shujukoche. Tomar, at the very beginning, thought transformation, open the door of Dharma. So that's the title of the text. So a little bit, because there's humidity, wet in the cave, so it's a little bit, kind of a little bit wide things, So the text caught up and have to dry outside in the roof and the sun. So that's the text which explains very clearly, with many advices from Kadama Geshe, how to practice Dharma, what the meaning of practicing Dharma. So I was spending months, sort of reading that in the cave. I was supposed to watch outside walkers, what they're wasting time or just talking or, like that. But only when I come for pee-pee, then I see the walkers, they're just talking, But I don't have bread mind to scold them. I don't have a sack of pee-pee, then I come back. So anyway, so I read that, it says how to practice Dharma. When I read that, then I checked my life. Back. Solukumbu, it was a young time, nothing became Dharma. Then I checked back to Tibet, 3 years puja, nothing became Dharma. Then I checked my life, back to Baksa, atheist, starting philosophy, Tibet, all, nothing became Dharma. Oh, I discovered that. Then see, that time, because we were reading that so I usually scared when people bring offerings like potatoes, radish, big radish, not small radish, big radish. But if you eat that, your whole body will be mess. Your whole life, we're unbelievable bad smell of fart. And your whole body gets degenerated by eating the big, strong chest. So things like that. Then maybe some bring salt in the container, salt from Tibet, because they go in Tibet to get salt. And then sometimes maybe rice, there's not much in the container. So when they bring offering to me, I was scared. I used to get scared for the shortcomings, by thinking the shortcomings and the shortcomings of attachment and all that. I was scared. I don't like. So like that, yeah. So that time was, but now totally degenerated. So many years gone away. Totally degenerated that I see some renunciation, but totally gone away. Blown away by attachments in this life. So all then like this, we see, because there then I learned what it means to practice Dharma. So really, after that, never thought about the meaning of practicing Dharma. So what Dharma is, never thought. Then you see, after that, then I had to do retreat. People coming down. So I did retreat. Because my mind was a little bit cleaned. By reading the text, my mind was cleaned. Like cleaning your room garbage, you see, putting outside. So similar, your mind cleaned the garbage, mental garbage, you see. So your mind became a little bit clean. So I began the retreat after that, Tangtri retreat. It's so good. Wow. First day especially, I thought to Baba, if my life can be like this, happiness like this, Baba, can't imagine. So you see, so good became Dharma and good because I read the text before. So I suggest to you, if you are going to do retreat, if you have time, you must read this text. I don't know, there's a complete translation, not, but this first book, what is it called? Open and Draw Dharma from Bodhgaya. Earlier, so many years ago, I have teachings, not all, but some teachings from that. So that now there's one more. So anyway, so if you don't find out, then you read those things. There's another one. Do you know the title? London, what? Huh? There's another book from London. He edited it, so I worked on the book. So anyway, so read this, study this, and then you begin the retreat after that. Whatever you can do, Vajrasabha or anything, Tangtiri do anything, so then really that makes it so helpful. It cleans your mind. So with that pure, clean mind, then you begin the retreat. So my suggestion that. So you see, I'm not even after things to say, but I'm not going to finish it there because otherwise it takes a whole time will take on that. Yes, I don't know which one the first says, I don't remember. So the Jawa Dromdamba is not teacher. Jawa Dromdamba, it was Genesis. Lama Desha translator in Tibet. Lama Desha, from Nalanda, came to the spread Buddha's teaching, spread the Holy Dharma in Tibet. So there was a lot of misunderstanding. If you practice Sutta, you can practice Tantra. If you practice Tantra, you can practice Sutta. So a lot of misunderstanding of the Tantra and so on, that unbelievable misunderstanding, so degenerative. So Lama Desha, since Lama Desha was embarked in Tibet, wrote to the limited path to enlightenment. The title Lamrim starts from that. So then he sent to Nalanda, to the Pandits, to read. All the Nalanda Pandits goes unbelievable devotion, praise so much to Lama Desha. Because at that time, Pandits write text, and there was a mistake. They tie on the dog's tail, and the dog is taken around the city. It seems like that. So, so then I got to the so Jao Dhamma is walking and riding in the jungles, in the trees, and so this old man, maybe reading text. So asked, "What are you doing?" I'm reading text. Reading text. So your reading text is good, but it isn't better to practice Dharma. He didn't ask, what is practicing Dharma? He didn't ask. So he thought maybe meditate is maybe practicing Dharma. So he tried to meditate. So then one day, Java Dhamma met him and asked, "What are you doing?" And I'm meditating. "Oh, it's good to have meditating, but it isn't bad to practice Dharma." So then he didn't ask what to do. So then he started to go around the temple. He thought that practicing Dharma. So then when the Jawajamdamba he met, and he asked again, the Jawajamdamba asked, "What are you doing?" I'm going around this temple." "It's good that you go around the temple. Isn't it bad to practice Dharma?" And then, only then, he asked, what do you mean by practicing Dharma? So Jawajamdamba said, "Renounce this life. Renounce this life." Jawajamdamba answered. The practice Dharma is to renounce this life. But you have to get the whole idea. That means, you see, the attachment to this life. From there, of course, back to what I explained before, ignorance, but again now there's no attachment to this life. Then from that, you see, the problems, 100 problems, 1,000 problems, all the problems of the like root of tree, spread, like this, you see, all the problems of the life. Problems with attachment, with ignorance, anger, with anger, pride, jealousy, relationship problems, all the problems that all come from that attachment to the. So like this, you see, like the root of the tree, and spreading out. So, therefore, not only this life, but it makes it create good karma, day and night constantly, even future life. Many future lives to suffer. Future life on, suffer. For even so that, see. So practicing Dharma means renounce, like poison, throw out. Poison, if you can, you die. So you cast out, far. So poison, and that person what can do is just kill, just you die this life. It doesn't bring to Lord, It's similar that many people who die by cancer don't go to the lower realm. I mean, some go to pure land in the high realms and so that, you see. So person just only separate the conscience from the body. There's nothing. But you see, the delusion, ignorance, anger, attachment to this life, then all the time engage in creating the karma. All that you see, you know, from beginning, let's say, birth, suffered in the 6 realms. In the 6 realms, the oceans of suffering with each realm. You don't remember. Lama. You see, then again, then not on that path, again, numberless, endless samsara. Understand? Suffering. Again. Would you already experience it from beginning at time? Numberless time. Again. Now this attachment, renounce. Give up, renounce. So people who don't know at the beginning might think, you're giving up my happiness. I don't have to give up my attachment. Then I don't have happiness. I don't have attachment, no happiness. So then you kind of worse in prison. You fall kind of in the hell. So you see, in the hell because of no attachment. So no, you can't enjoy the life. No attachment. So I mean, in the West, like that, the general people. So here, renouncing, giving up. Your root of the problem, brings all the 100,000, all the root giving up. So you see, who is able to give up all the concern, the attachment to this life? Then you see, so what happens? Then you really. You have so much happiness, more, so much unbelievable happiness in the life. Your mind happy. Then the people, so unbelievable attachment, like waterfall, like ocean, attachment. Killing so much kill grass, so much. There's so much suffering, unbelievable. All the difference here. So Miller Repa's life story, who achieved enlightenment, they're not ordained person who achieved enlightenment. Or then some of the talking, some of the peace, and all the great, ascetic life, so much peace. All the root is because he gave up this attachment, or this. Because of the confused mind, that's the painful mind. That's incredible happiness. Unbelievable amount of happiness. Like that, you see. You see, so the when you hear beginning renouncing this life, means renouncing happiness this life. I mean, there's kind of beginning. You see, if you don't hear more expression, but then you might hear, give me our attachment, give me my happiness. It's so bad, terrible. And in the West, but that. So it's not like that. So that's the root. All that incredible happiness. So I have many quotations, many things, but that's enough. So that's the start. That's the basis. That's the start Dharma practice. Or then you develop on the basis of that to enlightenment. Okay? On the basis of that, develop then you achieve enlightenment, come to honest minds. So like that. Then benefit numberless sentences and bring them to enlightenment. Numberless help, numberless anger, numberless maybe numberless. All you won't bring to enlightenment. Also like that. So that's the benefits of practicing Dharma. Okay. Yes, you asked, as you asked question, that's the first thing, the most important thing, first thing to know. Yes, otherwise the danger, what you said, can happen. You waste your, even I tell you one thing. If you don't know how to practice Dharma, what is Dharma, or if you don't know, then even you stay in monastery. Even you stay in monastery, daytime, nighttime, you are only Dharma. Nighttime, daytime, you memorizing this, explaining, Papa extends the subject, philosophy about the path to enlightenment, truth, absolute, competent truth, truth for the ultimate mind, absolute, the matter of wisdom, the Dhammakaya, Rupakaya, to be Jiva. I mean, so much. But you see, you don't know what is Dharma. You don't know what is Dharma, how to practice Dharma. You don't know. You can waste your whole life. It doesn't become Dharma. Oh, there's a danger. You do all the study, debate, all this, but nothing becomes Dharma. You understand? You have to know that. You have to know that. Similar? Similar, you are in the cave. Okay? I'll give you another example. Similar, you're in the cave, or you don't see people, or he's doing not seeing people, not seeing animals, birds. Not seeing even birds. You block the noise of the birds, not singing, not singing. So, yes, you see, recite some of the mantra or whatever you do, but you don't know what is Dharma. How to practice Dharma, you have no idea. You have no idea. But you do many things, reading text, reciting many millions, famous mantra or Amana. You don't meditate, but you don't know what Dharma is. How to practice Dharma, you don't know. So that's dangerous. Not only example of monastery, also in the cave. You have to know that. There's danger, you may waste all your life, not knowing what Dharma is or how to practice Dharma. But you do lots of mantras, you do lots of things. You have to know that. I'll tell you, I'll explain you my heart. Okay, that's all. Okay, now go back.
So the real meaning of practicing Dharma, so he was emphasizing whatever you do, which is considered to be a Dharma practice, like reciting or the debating, staying in a quiet place, monastery, in the caves, and whatever you do, if you don't know the real meaning of Dharma, is a wasting whole life, he said. The practicing Dharma, the basis of this is renounced attachment. Why? Because its nature is a suffering. It just makes you suffer. Attachment to this life. This life came about because of your past action. To be born as a human is a favorable condition, and it's here as a result of it. What we can do right now is just is to do the action to bring about the result in the future. If you attach to what is transient right now in this life, whatever the coming, the possession, or the wealth or the health, it is momentarily changing, and it will never stay with you. And the person who wants, I want to be healthy, I want to be wealthy, it doesn't have a concrete substance. It's not there how we perceive. As a result, with this strong attachment, you want to get something attached to this life and all this, just leave you in dissatisfaction and disappointment, the hollow feeling, loneliness, and sadness. And if you still keep chasing after this, and you leave this body because you finish the merit to have this body, and this the mind with a strong attachment will throw you to find the suitable basis, suitable body to support that very strong attachment. Means is a lower realm, suffering beings, the beings in hell, and the beings in a hungry ghost realm, and the beings in the animal realms. This is what the Dharma is teaching. So stop having this craving and attachment now to this life. And from now, this moment, what you can do is creating the future happiness. You know, this is the action that we are going to bring about good fruition. And so practicing Dharma is not about where you are and what you're doing. This is a mental decision, and be clear about what you're abandoning and what you're following to make, to follow the path to attain our goal. In the beginning, he talked about his experience of being in a cave, the very special cave, and he was really practicing the renunciation. He really fed up with his own attachment. So his student, the follower, brought him a potato as a present, but he just saw the suffering of it. Yeah, you eat it and you just felt, and it was so much suffering. He even had this aversion to a potato, the present potato. And he said that that was a real moment of the renunciation practice. And he after said, no, now it's degenerated. I don't have that much strong motivation and all this. I would like to share my experience of a pilgrimage right now, because it's a little bit relating to, you know, it's not like a real renunciation, but it's somehow after I met the Rinpoche in Japan, somehow my mind has changed. And at that time I was working in the company at the marketing department in the center of Tokyo. I was working from 9 to 6 and commuting 1 hour every day. You know, it's a working life. And but I was always dissatisfied. I was working all right, but this dissatisfaction, you know, what am I doing? Why I'm here, and why I'm living, you know, how I got this life, you know, this kind of question I was always having inside, and remained inside me as anxiety. And maybe when I met him, something ripened inside me. And I thought, you know, and maybe it's time that I will follow my own, you know, life, you know, try to find what I really want to do in my life, you know. And whatever I was doing, I was having that time, I didn't have any wish to keep them, any like beautiful clothes and the work and the apartment I was living. So I decided to leave everything behind. I gave away all my clothes, and what I had, all I had was about $5,000 in the bank, and one rucksack and one backpack with me. And you know, I become a bit like a hippie, like, you know, working life to the hippie life, like a person looking. And I didn't want anything. I just wanted just only one thing with that pilgrimage, with a travel trip. The only thing I wanted was to visit all the Buddhist sites in the Asian countries. That was the only purpose I set up. And it is self-made. I didn't decide how long it's going to last. You know, with the money I had, you know, however it lasts, I wanted to travel and visit all these Buddhist sites. Any other things had no importance at all. It's not really true, because I had two things that I couldn't let go that time. So there's one thing, when I left Japan, I carried 2 toilet rolls, 2 toilet rolls, because until then, I realized that until then, I've never had experience without this one. You know? So I couldn't imagine the life without toilet roll, going to toilet. And it's like beyond my comprehension, you know. I just wanted to keep my dignity. So I kept one toilet roll here, one toilet roll here in my rucksack. And the second thing is shoes. I was very attached to the sneakers, the very comfortable one. And if I tell you, it's Reebok shoes. I used to love Reebok shoes. They were so comfortable, and you know, with a high cut with the two belts like this. You know, I kept buying that one. It was so comfortable. At a certain point, they stopped making this high cut, which is not normal size, you know, without covering the ankle. But anyway, I was very attached to them. So I bought them, and I put one shoe here on top of the toilet roll, and another one here in the pocket, the side. And I was wearing another pair of Converse shoes. They're very comfortable. And, you know, I couldn't imagine to walk in an unknown land in the Asian countries without shoes, you know, my favorite shoes. So these two things I carry with me. The other things, you know, whatever happens, wherever I can get, you know, the clothes and t-shirts, I could get it. You know, the food was okay, you know, the clean water and the bread, and I was very happy about that. And at first, with my friend, I arrived to Thailand. We chose Thailand because I thought it's a nice cushion. The country is a nice cushion to go before entering the real deep, you know, deep trip. So I visited Thailand, and I stayed in the road called Khao San Road. There are lots of backpackers gathering there that time. And, you know, there we exchanged, and then I started getting in the mood of being the backpacker there. And after that, I had a chance to go to the island, still in Thailand, to the island called Koh Phangan. It was, that time, was not so many tourists. It was a very quiet island. And the local people were making just like small huts, and in the middle is a dining space, and they can cook for you for the breakfast and the lunch and dinner. And all the other time, just to stay in a hut and do whatever you like. There's nobody with pushing you to do anything, nobody pushing you to think or say anything. And it was a very quiet kind of retreat time I had, about three weeks there. And I came back to Khao Road and decided to go to Myanmar. I heard about this place called Pagan. There are lots of pagodas, it's like a stupas. And in this city, there are 1,000 of them. 1,000 years ago, at that time, the king of that era ordered the people to build this. He was really faithful to the Buddhism, and it gives me so much brought me to the different dimension just being there. It was an amazing place. And after Myanmar, I came back to Thailand again. Then I decided to go to India. First, I entered the Calcutta, and my destination is, of course, was Bodhgaya. I wanted to see where the Buddha got enlightened. And this photo is, I only have this photo with me now. It's a Japanese temple in Bodhgaya. And I don't have there's a Mahabodhi Stupa and even Root Institute photo. I don't have it with me, but I found this one with me right now. And the purpose of going to Bodhgaya was to, of course, visit where the Buddha got enlightened. But another important thing was to visit Root Institute, the FPMT Center, because at that time, there was not so much information about FPMT and where Rinpoche is. I just wanted to see him, and I somehow thought that I can see him going to the Root Institute in Bodhgaya. There's no information, I just believed like that. So I visited the Root Institute in Bodhgaya and entered the office there. And the first person I saw was our Holy Anset. Now it's Venerable Holy Anset. She robed for many years now, but that time she was not ordained. And she was like a very pretty girl with a long hair and a nice flare skirt, and very kind. This is a memory of the Holy of me. And then I said hello, and she was very kindly answered. And I saw her, her feet, and she was not wearing the shoes. She was bare feet and walking everywhere in the Root Institute, and I got very shocked. Wow, this girl is walking without the shoes in such a place, I mean, it's a place where I visited first time, but she was like really happily walking. There's no danger, she gave me kind of a wow feeling that time. Since I was carrying my shoes like so tightly with me, it's kind of opened my mind. It's not like she was always bare feet, but she had sometimes wear the sandals also, but it gave me some kind of insight that you don't need to really hold on to the shoes to walk around in India, And of course, you go to toilet there, and there's not even a place to put the papers. And, I had to learn to wash myself with water. And that I learned eventually. I mean, there's no problem. And then it was actually very healthy culture. And slowly, this attachment to these two things I had started fading away. Maybe it's not that necessary, you know. And in the Bodhgaya, it happened like that, that Root Institute. And I asked the Holy, where is Rinpoche? And she laughed at me that time and said, did you come here to see Rinpoche? And Rinpoche is not here, she said, but he's always going around everywhere. So even if you come here, you know, I'm very sorry to tell you, but he's not here. And I was disappointed that day, and I thought, oh, I made a mistake. I just had to check where he is. He was at Barcelona that time, so far away from Bodhgaya. Anyway, it was a nice place to stay. There are lots of books to read, so I decided to stay there. And the very next day, it was very next day, I walked outside in the morning and I saw Holly was like really running, bare feet, you know, really running with a big smile, you know. And I asked Holly, you know, what happened? And she said, Rinpoche is coming. Rinpoche is coming. I just got the news that Rinpoche is coming in 1 week time. And I was going like, wow, he's coming to Bodhgaya in 1 week. Like this, I got another chance to meet Rinpoche without knowing he was coming. And in 1 week time, one after another, I don't know how they get the news that the people who follow him start arriving before, like 4 or 5 days after, before Rinpoche arrives, the route needs to be packed with the people. And it was really, you know, I was staying in the dormitory, but it was really packed with people. And that time, this Japanese temple, I visited sometime then. And they kindly gave me the room to stay because it became so busy in the Root Institute. For 2 weeks, they offered us the room to stay. So I really, you know, feel thankful to the monks staying that time in the Japanese temple. So then Rinpoche arrived in Bodhgaya. And this time I listened to his teaching very attentively. And first time I took the refuge from him. And I had this strong wish, you know, I wanted to do something for him, how he's working. If I can give him a hand, it would be very nice. And after the teaching, I went to him and I asked him, what I would like to do something for you. And what can I do for you? And Rinpoche asked me, where do you want to go? And I kind of didn't have a very clear idea, but I said, somewhere like France or Spain would be nice, I said. And he told me, then now you please go back to Japan and help the Japanese center there. And we will see, he said. And his meeting is finished there. Okay, he finished his teaching and greeting everyone, and he left. And I stayed in Bodhgaya more because it was so comfortable, and I liked staying there. I was helping also volunteer in the library as well. But at a certain point, I realized that my visa was finishing, and it was like just only 1 day I had a visa. Until then, I didn't realize that it was finishing. If I didn't leave that country on that day, you know, I had to be, I would be like illegally staying there, and I had to be sent back to Japan. So Nepal was the closest country that I could go. And that's why I decided to move to Nepal. And I stayed there for about a month. Yeah. The Nepal was a very nice place. I visited also these stupas and temples. And I remember that food was nice. And the best food I had there was Greek moussaka. And I remember this one very well. I liked it very much. Then from there, I got the news that His Holiness is holding 10 days New Year teaching in Dharamsala. And I thought I'd like to attend that. And I went to Dharamsala. And this is a teaching place. Yeah. And I didn't know very much about Buddhism and the teachings and His Holiness that time, because in Japan, His Holiness at that time, 30 years ago, he was not even able to enter the country. So I went there and I was astonished. Everyone, the lay people, the monk, the ordained people, and the wealthy people, poor people, anybody was sitting on the same floor and listening to his teaching very attentively. And I felt some atmosphere very special there. And it was a very special 10 days teaching. And when I stayed outside the hotel, and one day I went to one small cafe to have a breakfast. It was a very small cafe. It's like 4 or 5 tables inside. And I saw one, like a Western gentleman inside, sitting like this. And I sat next to him and I thought, I saw this person somewhere. I don't know, but it seems like I remember his face. Then someone came, one Italian monk is our Lotsawa, the translator Fabrizio. I heard it was him. He entered and he said, "Hey, Richard." And it was Richard Gere sitting behind me. And he was there also to listen to His Holiness teaching and sitting on the same floor as everyone else. And this was also a little bit mind-blowing, because I thought that this, the people who I saw only on the screen and, the people who live in Hollywood is like far away, another world. For me, it is sitting on the same floor, listening to the teaching. It was kind of a special time I had. And at that time, I also heard about Geshe Thupten as a meditator who was meditating on the mountain in Dharamsala. So I wanted to visit him. On the way to visit him, there was, many stones. So I took the photo there nearby. When I visited Geshe Thupten, he kindly received us and offered us the very nice soup for lunch. The cooking outside, with a fire place made with the stones. The attendants was making this very delicious food with such a minimum tools, and gave me, mind-blowing it was. And that time also there was Claire, our Claire was there visiting him. I don't think she remembers me, but we had a lunch together there. Yeah, so this was then after this one, I went to England for a while, and I came back to Japan. And that time, after 9 months about, I finished my money, and I had to start working and to get back in the life there. So about 1.5 years, I got 2-3 part-time job and tried to get the money back and get settled again. Then after that, I visited the Japanese FPMT Center, as Rinpoche asked me to do. So I visited there. Then this director at that time immediately told me about the Masters Program. And Masters Program is happening in Italy. And I thought immediately, this is the only thing I want to do. Then I went to, I saved some money and I went to join a Masters Program. At that time, it was a kind of tough time because the text we are studying is so difficult, and life, you don't know what's happening every day, and we are very far away from all the shops and all these things. We're trying to live in a minimum life. But while doing that, I get used to it, and sometimes we also had a 10 days retreat with the 8 precepts, keeping the vows and all this. By joining that, I started having something, the cleaning, like Rinpoche said, throwing the garbage away from inside me. The cleaning outside, simplify everything, and inside also. Lots of things coming out, not relating to any external stimuli, but from inside, some very strong emotions coming, some sadness coming, some, the anger coming, all these things. And one by one, you throw the garbage while you're doing the retreat. And I started having that time some nice dreams, like a flying dream, or the swimming in the very, very clean water, and don't have any problems breathing even in the water. Or talking to Rinpoche, or talking to His Holiness, just chatting is nothing very important, but giving me that is a very warm feeling. And this is like just a little bit of the experience that time, after I kind of left behind what was not necessary in the quest of my life. Those things happened. I still remember that feeling of, that dream, the experience. And now I live in a very mundane life. Very, very mundane life, every day busy, and also take care of the life and the money and all these things. But because I had that experience, I kind of, get confused, and I can go back to that state of mind. It's like I tasted chocolate, because I tasted that feeling of freedom. I can kind of, I learned to go back to that state, and I really appreciate this journey that I made. So I wanted to share just a little bit of my experience. Yeah. So I talk a little bit long about my journey. Now we talk about renunciation. Okay, it's very important for the Dharma, basis of the Dharma practice. Get rid of the attachment, the hollowness of being attached to something so transientary, something without substance, and it just brings you to the future suffering. And here I prepare some short meditation session. Let's let's say, okay, something we really value in our life, something like health and wealth and relationships. Let's meditate a little bit about these three things. You try to get the best perfect health and the enough money, the being rich, or they have a perfect relationship. Does it really make you happy or not? Does it give you the really lasting satisfaction or not? How you make it satisfactory, how you make this experience in a happy and a peaceful feeling. Yeah. So we kind of go through together, short session, meditation session. Okay. So first you breathe, close your eyes, breathe in, and breathe out. Just following your breath. So what we value most could be the perfect health. It would be nice. We have a perfect health, strong body, everlasting, healthy body and mind. But as soon as you start chasing the perfect health for yourself, at the same time, you also carry yourself the fear of not having it. I say, I want to have a perfect health. I want to be a very strong person. But as soon as you say that, there is a fear underneath that you might not have it, or you might lose it even you have it now. Because things are momentarily changing. Even if you're sick, even if you have a headache is a transiently, okay? You experience a headache, but it goes away. But then tummy ache comes and you worry about, and you're very disappointed about. Never finish the worry. You chase the health for yourself and never ending the worry follows you. But if you think that this health, having health yourself, will be a benefit for other people because you're strong enough to help other people. So you want to be healthy because you want to help other people. Then you kind of let go of the grasping for being healthy for yourself, for your own satisfaction. I am healthy, and for this, I will help other people. Even if I'm not healthy, I'm sick, but I have this sickness for other people, to benefit other people, to consume all the bad karma that I created to experience this sickness right now. When you shift this focus to other people, to have this health, your anxiety diminishes. What about wealth? All the money and the richness. I want to have it, I want to chase it, I want to obtain everything I'm looking for. As soon as you obtain it, the fear kicks in to lose all of them. Or the fear of the jealousy from other people that you obtain all these things. Have a beautiful car, but at the same time, you obtain the problems to maintain this. At the same time, you get all these things. The fear and the anxiety and worry. Only thing to make this wealth and richness worthwhile is to use them for the other people's happiness, other people's satisfaction. Whatever you can do, whatever the talent you have, you offer it. And you experience the satisfaction and the happiness and the wisdom. The relationship. I want to have the beautiful and very kind wife who can cook well and stay together very well. Yeah. Or the husband, the boyfriend, the girlfriend. I want to keep him for myself. I want her to do this for me. I want for her to be like this for me. But then at the same time, we have a fear. If she's not like that, if she changes, if he changes, am I going to be happy? And the fear kicks in, the disappointment kicks in. And I don't want her to be like that. I don't want him to be like that. Then anger comes in. Because this I is talking, I. Shift the attention to her or him, the other person, your partner. I want my partner to be happy. What can I do for her or for him to be happy? Then this anxiety, anger, frustration start diminishing. By giving the love and the care, sincere care for her or for him to be happy. At the same time, you yourself will receive the peace of mind and happiness. Okay, thank you very much. It was a very short meditation, but I hope that it will be a little bit of help of getting your own insight about, what you're chasing in life. Is that really making you happy? How to shift attention, how to shift this the wish for others to be happy, then you start getting rid of the anxiety and first attachment, anxiety, and the hollow feeling, and also all sorts of things. Okay. So now it's time. Okay. The introduction of three paths. Now Rinpoche is I'm gonna play the video about Rinpoche talking about introduction to the three paths. It's the presentation in the Lamrim of graduated path, which is a path of small scope, path of middle scope, path of great scope. Path of small scope is a small scope because this purpose is to learn this path. The purpose of this is to obtain a higher rebirth and a definite goodness. So by knowing what suffering is and getting rid of the bad action and adopt the positive action, you will obtain the happier rebirth and the definite goodness. And the path of middle scope is called middle scope because it is a wish to be free from all the cyclic existence, the world of suffering, by seeing the small scope result that even if you attain the higher rebirth, when you finish the merit of being there, you're definitely go down in the raw realms and have that suffering. And you go in circle and circle, and you're really fed up with it. And I really want to go out from this cycle of suffering. And this is the middle scope. And when you learn it very well, how the cycle of suffering is happening and how you're staying there, and you will learn how to get out of it, and you will obtain a liberation. Now, they renounce everything and obtain a liberation. This is in the middle scope. And the path of great scope is when you shift your attention, that you liberate it now, but you don't leave all the kind people who helped you and who supported you, who's giving you everything to continue to suffer. And now you're coming out from the burning house, but you decided with wearing the armor, go back there to help them. It's the path of great scope. You will develop the method to help all these living beings without exception with the wisdom of the true nature of the phenomena, so that you will not make a mistake to put yourself inside the suffering world. You will never gonna have the suffering. So you will have these two tools to proceed on the path until we attain the perfect complete enlightenment, being fully awakened. So these are introductory paths. I still have time. The Rinpoche's video. Let's watch Rinpoche's video.
By training the mind in small capable, small gradual path, small capable being, then you see whatever happens to this life, any problem or the difficulties, whatever, it doesn't matter much. So what you look for is that mainly not happiness life. This is just unimportant. Happiness life, not unimportant. Mainly what you look for is the happiness future life. The total switch. Now is so important happiness life. So important happiness future life. We want to accept future life, but doesn't feel much. Not much. But after this meditation, the effortless experience, then you see then the future life happens. So important. This life is important. So more you see important future life, this life, less then how much you regard the importance, less. So more you see future life. So like that, this is nothing important. Happiness life is nothing important. And future life, so important. Then, so stable realization. Then how many months, weeks, months, years takes time to have a stable realization that. So then able to keep the mind always in Dharma. Able to leave the mind in Dharma all the day and night, or do you eat, or do you sleep, or do you do job, whatever you do, always in Dharma. So life is becoming meaningful all the time, without break. Then after training the mind in the gradual part of the middle capable being, the Jiwating Lanjirimba. So the 6 types of sufferings, and 4 types of suffering, 3 types of suffering, and then evolution of suffering through 12 dependent, then they are it through 12 dependent relative limb. And then the suffering of each realm there, human beings, so forth. Then I say, then you see the samsara, being samsara, can't stand. You can't stand. When you're caught in prison, you can't. You don't want even 1 minute in the prison. You don't want even 1 minute in the prison. You want to be free from. You want to be out of that. So like that. See, whenever renunciation of samsara. After you after you develop the experience with the effort, and after you develop the experience without the effort, so when you have total realization of renunciation of samsara, say like being in the samsara, you feel like being in the center of the fire. You are in the center of the fire. Burning, or your negative body sitting on the thorn bush, so like a needle, all of the body sort of like that, sitting on needle, that. So even a second, even a millisecond, you have no interest in to be in samsara. So like that. Want to be liberated from that, so renunciation, samsara, so stable. So no matter how many weeks, months, years, it takes time to realization of that. And then, khasadi, so like that, bodhicitta. So it is mentioned about the meditators that, every sentence being, you see, day and night, like for example now, day and night, what you have in your heart, happiness this life. For example, me, so happiness this life. Whether you eat that, whether you sleep that, whether you, whatever you do, job, what you have in the heart is happiness. So then that time, all that, when you have realization, bodhicitta, then the only sentient beings free them from oceans of samsara suffering. So unbearable. So, because before you see you're being samsara so unbearable, as I gave an example. So now you feel the others, nobody sentient beings, helping sanghas, animals, human beings, you see, and samsara is like that, like how you feel yourself, or like that, others being, like your mother fell in the fire, burned that in the midst of fire, burning. How the the kind of mother, like somebody whom you think most kind, most dear, most precious, or somebody, or that's father, or that's mother, or somebody else, or fell on fire. How that? Wow. That's so fun. So then, them to bring to enlightenment, then to wish to achieve enlightenment. So with these two wishes, then you have a principal consciousness, just and special, the principal conscience. With these two intention, the seeking enlightenment for others, and then to cause, then oneself to achieve enlightenment. That and so principal consciousness, which is 5 ways similar to these two intentions. So the bodhicitta generate. So every person, every sentence you see, you want to achieve enlightenment. So it is said by the meditators who have realization bodhicitta. So like that. So anyway, to have that main thing what you have in the mind is that, and then no matter how many weeks, months, years takes time that and to have a self-realization.
Okay, so however it takes, this presentation, the path to follow is clearly shown in the book of Lamrim text, The Graduated Path to Liberation. Now the time is a little bit pushing, so I was going to go into the detail. I prepared for that, but I just go through the topic of this one. The path of small scope is, like I said before, it's the goal is by learning. The goal is to obtain the higher rebirth and the goodness. And so by practicing what is taught in this section, you will keep the vows to refrain from the bad actions and the practice the good action that will bring you to reborn in keep reborning in the higher rebirth, like humans and the gods and demigods, so that you have more freedom to keep practicing it. So we will see that then the shortcoming of death and impermanence. There is no use of attaching to this life, because at the time of death you lose everything, and it's impermanence, everything, every momentarily changing. We are momentarily decaying, and all these things. And really go into this topic. And the raw rebirth. We study about the really intense suffering in the lower rebirth in the great details, like 8. So here, show the picture. Lower rebirth in the great details, and such as 8 hot hells and the 8 cold hells and occasionally hells, and in the great detail is explained. And the reason of this is to really get depressed about it. Really, you don't want to go there. You don't have any freedom. The suffering of the heat is intense compared to the heat of the fire on this human world. Compared to the heat of the hell, it's like having the holiday, It's so intense that you cannot really do anything. The hell here, and this is Hungry Ghost. The hell is usually coming about when you're born there because of the result of the killing. Yeah, you kill with anger and attachment. You kill and you're going there. You create a cause to go there. And here, the Hungry Ghost, the hungry spirit, the cause to go there is the miserliness and the covetousness. You greed. You want to take someone's possessions, and you don't want to give away things. And when you die with that mind, you're likely to go there. And the animal realms, when you have, for example, the disrespect to the Dharma or the teachers, and you increase your ignorance about this, and you tend to take the form to be born there. I said very quickly, but you really go into the detail of how they're living, what the suffering they're having. Yeah. Then you kind of obtain the complete refusal. You don't want it anymore. You want to be free from that. Okay, thank you. Go back to the slide. And the only thing is who we can rely on is three jewels. They are the reliable three resources, jewels, that which can protect us and they take away from that danger. So take refuge. And the reason why we take refuge and how they are so reliable is explained here. And the karma is the cause, law of cause and effect is explained. We, if you create if you do the bad action, the negative action, it will yield the suffering in the future. If you do refrain from the bad action, and it will yield the happy and peaceful state of mind. And then go to the path of medium scope. And here is an aspiration river, but you even want to go out from the cycle of the suffering. I don't want, if you finish the merit of being in the fortunate rebirth, you go down to the suffering of the three world realms. So you want to be liberated from that and go into the study of suffering. And 12 links is how you go cycling in that suffering world. And when you really learn this one, you develop the aversion to all these things, the suffering and delusion, and you will be liberated. You get the cause of it, and you will be liberated, path to liberation. When you're liberated, going to the path of a great scope, you are, enter the great path, the path of the Bodhisattva. Now you're working for other people because you liberated yourself, and so you want to help the kind people who helped you and who supported you until you get liberated. But to go there, you have to protect yourself by developing the great love and the compassion to the other people, to develop bodhicitta. You engage in the bodhisattva deeds, that you wear the armor to protect yourself, to go inside a burning house to help those people. And these are shown on this great path of great scope section. Okay, so now I went very quickly, but the time is up. There's not much time for the question and answer. I hope I explained, I did my best to explain the class, to lead the class. Thank you for listening and attending this class. And before we close it, we make a dedication. And after that, Serena is going to explain, introduce the next class. The dedication. Thank you. May the merits of reading and studying the Dharma be dedicated to good health, long life, fulfillment of all the holy wishes of the Gurus, and the happiness of all sentient beings, and the accumulation of the, actualization of the path without delay. This prayer of dedication and person making dedication are empty without inherent existence. Long life prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche. You who uphold the subdued moral way, who serve as a beautiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplish magnificent prayer, honoring the three sublime one, savior of myself and others, your disciples, please live long. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nahoko.
Thank you.
We very much enjoyed your session, and thank you also for sharing your stories of your pilgrimage and your difficulty in renouncing 2 toilet rolls and 1 high-top pair of Reebok sneakers. As you were speaking, I had my own experience of renunciation to a stable internet connection. I lost you a few times. I'm now on my hotspot, so hopefully I think you can continue to hear me now. For the sessions to come, there are 2 more English sessions. The next one will be in a month's time, and it will be on the subject, the very important subject of mind training, which will be led by Jaya from Malaysia. And for the Chinese session, it will be happening, as you know, a parallel series is happening in Chinese. So in 2 weeks' time, Kim Ho from Singapore is going to be talking on the same subject that Nahoko just did today, the 3 parts and the importance of renunciation. It's a huge topic, isn't it, Nahoko? I mean, there was so much to cover, but thank you for sharing so much. It was such a varied and interesting presentation. So we hope to see everyone again very soon, in 2 weeks' time if you're Chinese speaking, or in a month's time if you're English speaking. At this stage, I also wanted to announce some updates, which I'm not sure everyone is aware of. When Exploring and Living in the Path was first launched, it was a very nice schedule, because at the end of it, on the 31st of July, it was going to continue to build up to the Light of the Path retreat, which was going to be an online, a hybrid online and on-site retreat with our very own Guru Lama Zopa Rinpoche. But since then, karma has changed, as karma does, and that retreat is now no longer happening this year. It has been postponed to next August 2023. So at this stage, Rinpoche is still in Kathmandu. There are no immediate plans to travel, because there are now, as Nahoko has mentioned in the beginning, Kandola has checked, and there are still some obstacles to his good health. So if we can all continue to recite the recommended taking refuge and generating bodhicitta prayer that you saw in the beginning for Rinpoche's good health, especially in the coming 2 months, that would be very much appreciated. So to conclude, Nahoko's already dedicated, of course, but if we can have that last slide again, Faye, so that I can show the contact details. If any of you have any feedback or comments or suggestions, or even just simple questions, you can write to us here on the email, or you can contact us on Facebook. And with that, we will conclude today. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you very soon. Thanks, everyone. Okay, you can all